Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today's card has an easel mechanism on it, and it has kind of like a floating piece that looks through the frame. Because I was using that Memorable Blooms that's in the online exclusives that I think is right now not available, of course, that would be my luck to show you three wonderful cards this week using the Memorable Blooms, but it has these really pretty flowers in here, great sentiments that have the really creative font in there. It has the dies that cut out all the flowers, die, and then it also has a die that cuts out this opening and another die here. I showed you a video, I think, last week that should use this die here. Well, let me show you how we make this fun card. My first inclination was to have this opening in the front of the card and then just put the flower in. But when it was sitting flat and then it sat this way, it was too far back. So I just put a little mechanism in there, as you can see, that holds it out. So it really looks cool, especially when you're looking, when it's freestanding on its own. Okay, so, and I use these really wonderful new mixed labels dies, has great sentiments with it too, but I am loving these dies in here. Used this on the card Monday and, last week, and this die on this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our pieces to this card. We're going to start out with a 4 4¼ by 11 score at 5½. As you can see, there's like a indent here, but a bump here. I like to fold on into the bump, and then that gives you that flushness there. If you fold the other way, sometimes you get that little tiny bit that is not meeting. So that's the key. Wherever you see the bump, fold in towards the bump. Okay, so I'm using basic black and we have that folded. What we're going to do for that mechanism is it's going to be 3 inches by 4¼ because the 4¼ is going to match the width of the card, and then we're going to build a little easel that goes inside there. You can see that kind of like a W there, and it's just going to fit inside there. And we're going to use a piece of DSP here, and it looks like this DSP might be a little too, no, it is actually the right size. So the first thing we're going to do is take a piece of this DSP. This is the Serene Love DSP, and I do believe this was one of those papers that they brought back in different colors, and it's got Lost Lagoon, Old Olive in it, and Navy. I used the Navy and the Lost Lagoon on 2 cards using the Memorable Blooms last week, and this week I used the Old Olive. But I didn't use the floral because the floral kind of clashed with this. So I used, that's so pretty, but I used this kind of just simple geometric there. And so we're going to put that onto the front of our card. I'm not going to use that. I am going to pull out my glue here. I don't need any fineness here, but I do want to make sure I just get a little bit of glue on the 2 sides, the right and the left side, right here on the card. Okay, and I don't want to get glue in the middle because I'm going to be cutting it out and then pushing it down inside, so I would just avoid that right now. So I just put that 4 by 5¼ inch piece of DSP on the front. And I am going to bring over my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so that I can run it through after I put the die on. So I'm going to pull out of my Memorable Blooms dies. I'm actually going to show you here. Okay. I'm going to be using this one that cuts out the flowers. Oh, and I needed one here too. I'm not prepared for that, but we're gonna have you use your make-believe brains there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is straighten this out. We're going to put that right on in the center of the card, okay? And if you want to, you can take a little temporary adhesive to keep it down. and we're going to roll this through. Now, whenever I'm rolling through something that has the inside of the card is going to be used, I try to use like a new plate or something, because you might get some scratches and index from a well-used plate. You could use your Sizzix Chrome plate. You could use our precision plate that we had, which I'm sure you didn't retire. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it through the embossing machine this way, and we're going to cut through the DSP and the black cardstock. Okay, so you take a little look there at those pretty blooms, and I'm going to run this through. I wish you guys were here so that I could say one of you guys could stamp those flowers on the outside for me. And it's a little tight getting through there because I've got two. I've got the DSP and the cardstock, but it went through, rolling it back through, and my table would be moving around everywhere right now if I was die cutting on here. So you can see it went the whole way through, and see how it's smooth here? It's smooth because I had the precision plate under there. So now you've got your opening on the front of your card, and we're just going to pop out the DSP and the cardstock. Now, if you didn't put any glue and you did a good job of not, this is going to fall right out for you, and then you'll have this to use on another card. So I'm just going to get my take your pick tool and just pull off this piece of temporary tape I had on there. I kind of got a big piece there, and just pull that off there. Usually it's pretty safe, and now set that aside. Okay, because we are going to be putting that into the inside, and we're saving that for another project. Okay, so let's just put some adhesive around the edges of that, because that's going to be what we see from the inside. On this one, you actually want to put it kind of, you don't have to put it right, but on this one I had to have my diagonal, the stripes going in the right direction. Okay, so now that's the inside of the card. You can see that. All I did was remove this piece that was underneath here, and I have this for another project. Okay, now we want to work on the focal point. Now, I've mentioned this a lot of times to people when I'm doing a video, and they usually say, I'm not sure what you mean, could you please show me? So I'm going to show you how I use my Stamparatus, or if you have any other type of a stamp positioning tool. What I did is I put a piece of white cardstock in, and I inked up my flower. Okay, and I stamped it. Okay, after I stamped it, I took the die and I used a different color. I did use Very Vanilla because they're about the same weight. I have used before like a different color cardstock, and sometimes it'll kind of nip it. I just like using vanilla or white, whichever. So what I did is I took it, ran it through, and then I had like this, you know, the negative. I trimmed around the negative, cut around it because I wanted to put it over here. I did a little beading of glue around my image, and then I took the negative. Oh no, don't roll where I can't get you, marker. Okay, then after let me just show you, because you kind of do have to cut this down a little bit because you want it to fit onto your stamping platform. Okay, so I like to put the glue around this image that I've stamped instead of this, but you could do it either way. Then I just put it around the image, so I saw it like how I would be putting a die around it. Then I can just glue that down, and that's like you could have put white on white, but you see vanilla better. Then you just go cut a negative out, put this negative blank one in here. This is great when you're making multiples of something, because you don't have to go, you can just sit and mindlessly run these through your embossing machine. I'll just see if I get that in there. It's like, there we go. So I have just put that blank in there. I'm gonna put this die away. I lost a die the other day and it took me a while to find it. Yes, it was sticking to something. So I'm gonna just ink up this image again. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp on that white. I did have one of those little Chuckies. I don't know where I put it. Okay, all right. And then you can see it's stamped there beautifully. And then I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what's nice about the stamp positioning tool, is that you can get a second bite at the apple there. And then my take your pick tool was just here. I'm gonna use that putty side to pull that out, and then you can keep throwing ones in there. Now, I did kind of move this a little bit, and I don't like that there's a little bit of, and actually, I'm not even sure if that's the die that's a little bit, but I just like to trim off anything that I would like it to be a little thinner. And I think that's actually, there we go. Okay, so I've got that done, and that's how I do that, remember? Just stamp it on a blank piece, stamp. Then take a negative, cut out the negative, glue it around your image. This is the wrong way. Glue it around your image. Then you can just put blank, keep putting blanks in there, keep stamping, pull the blank, the stamped image, and it makes for really quick. And it makes for quick doing stamping at class too, because you don't have to sit there and wiggle around. And then, oh, isn't it just a bummer when you've got a perfect stamped image and then all of a sudden you end up with, you know, it not being die cut the way you want it. So what I did for this one is I kind of cheated here. On my last card I did, and I actually just found this one that shows that pretty die there. I just decided, I hadn't decided yet what color my flowers were gonna be, but after I stamped it and I started coloring in the leaves, I decided, oh wait, I don't even have to color the flowers. They just really popped off because they were white. So I just went and I just put, I hope this is old. I knew I was doing something wrong. Look here. This is Granny Apple. Oh, darn. Well, how about I just go with it? I started coloring it and I thought, that doesn't look like Old Olive. So anyhow, on the original card there, I did do the greens right. So maybe I'll just get crazy on here. And maybe those dots won't pop out as much as saying, hello, I'm Old Olive. And, you know, we like to be matchy-matchy. Okay, any other big leaves? Okay, then what I'll do is I'll kind of sneak in the Old Olive in the little leaves, and then maybe your eyes will be drawn towards that color. Big, oh, one more big one here. Wouldn't you know, I would have had to pick up the wrong one. Granny Apple. I was thinking, wow, I thought I used light Old Olive on this card, and I had used light Old Olive, but actually maybe it'll have a nice look to it. Okay, so there. This is the one I meant to pick up, the Old Olive, because that's the color that's in the DSP. So I'll do all the smaller leaves in the Old Olive, and then maybe, I think I can get away with it because choosing the polka dotted one, actually, I did like the stripes better, and I was going to show stripes, but I thought, oh, I'll just do the polka dots, and actually that might have been Stampin' Jesus helping me out and saying, that's okay, I'll help you fix it, and literally making that two-tone. Now, is that a flower here? Yeah, that's a bud. That's a leaf. That's a leaf. And now it's just going to kind of look two-tone, but you're going to see the olive, so that's going to be good. And all of you are saying, you know what, Cindy, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. Okay, where are the okay, there's, these are leaves. And do I have all the leaves? I think so. No, up here. That's why it was looking a little strange up there. Because when you're using the white flowers, you want to make sure you caught all the leaves. Okay, now, I also, well, why don't I just show you my little mechanism. So what I did for the mechanism is I just took a little strip, and it could be really, I'm going to make, this is a 1-inch strip, and I'm just going to fold it in half like this. Actually, I might fold it like this. So it can be, it doesn't have to be any certain size, but it's going to go behind here. And you want it to fit within the card because it's going to, oh wait, how did I do that? I made the little one. Yeah. Actually, you know what I did is, let's just make it this way. So I put this on here and I'm only gluing the one side. So it's going to end up kind of being suspended inside the card. Okay. So let's get some, actually I might be able to, I'm out of my Stampin' Seal. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus here. There we go. So I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal Plus on one side, and maybe this is why there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put that up at the top here of the flowers, and it's also going to go on the other side. So you just have to get one side down, and there, put some nice strong adhesive there, and then we're just going to pop it into the card. And I would say just about like that, okay? And see, now it's going to just, it's gonna, I don't know if you can see that. It kind of has, it's not flat. It just kind of makes it stick out, okay? Then I put a sentiment on here, which was also on the table. Okay, kids, you might have to do a little bit of imagination. I did the I appreciate your thoughtfulness, and I put it right along the edge of here. And look, you can't even tell that granny apple green, well, maybe not till I do my photos, huh? And I just pulled that down towards this edge here. Okay, and then I put a set of flowers right here, but you can just imagine that because I forgot that. Okay, but we want to put on this mechanism here, and I'll just use some of my tear and tape. Here we go. And the way it's going to go is these two pieces are going to go in the inside here and on the inside of the other side. Okay, so let's just, do you know what? Yeah, we might as well just use the tear and tape. It is very easy to do. I like the fact that it is called tear and tape, and I try to remind people why it's called tear and tape, because we don't have to cut with our scissors. We can just tear and tape it down. So what we're going to do is take that edge off here. Okay, I'm going to take this one off, and I can find it. Well, actually, we're going to go from the inside here and just, here, I'll do it this way. You're going to put one edge right along, but against the bottom, okay? And I just did that upside down because I turned my paper. Okay, I think we can fix this. Okay, it's going to be okay if it tears because we're covering up that area. But I put it on the wrong end. Okay. Ah, Lord, help me, Jesus. Thank you so much. Okay, so it has to go like this, right? And it goes this way. So when you do that, once again, I think we can get away with this. You must put the folded edge against, I can't see and my camera is in my way. Okay, you have to put the folded edge against the inside edge, okay? See that? Because you want this on the inside, okay? So make the folded edge against the bottom and then fold this down. And you can see then when you fold this down, this folded edge is also against this edge. I hope I didn't confuse you too much there. Just kind of do it, fold it first and play around with it so you know which way to do that. See, once again, see that? I folded it, and this edge is against here. So the folded edge of that little part was against this edge. Then it goes up, down, and then if you fold this down and just fold this, that folded edge, then you have your little easel there, okay? So you have the two pieces on the inside of the card. Those two pieces are on the inside of the card. And then that's what gives it the ability to stand. And it really looks really cool with this little piece of, you know, all I did, you could take any, you know, piece of something. Just fold it and glue it on there. And just think of it as it's kind of like a tent. And this piece is, your image is hanging off. So it just looks really, really cool. And that just came out of the, like I was trying to think, I could pop it up with dimensionals, but that still doesn't really do too much because it was sitting too flat. So that really was cool. I like that. So you can put one more set of flowers that you can stamp and die cut right to cover up there. And then I used our gingham black checkered, but this does have it's cream, it's vanilla, but it still looks really pretty. I really like that. I did throw it on there because this doesn't seem real pure white to me, the DSP, even though I used it so I just put that like on the side here. It really looks nice against the green. And I just put that along there and the flower there. And on the back, I just went and I stamped that really pretty bloom. Whoa. Okay. I stamped that pretty bloom there. And then I did the thanks so much. Okay. There we go. Oh, I got an edge. I'll have to do something there. Okay, let's take our correct color, which is light old olive that I was using, and I just popped that on there and just did my leaves. And like I said, I was thinking I was going to be adding color to this, and then in the end I just left the blooms white and they looked really pretty that way. Okay, now this is where Cindy shows you how she fixes something. I'm going to get a black marker and I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this little, I already colored it. So I'm just going to go and draw some cuties on there. And that just kind of looks like that's what I wanted it to look like. Okay. All right. Don't look too close at that. But sometimes when you get a mark on there, if you just kind of make another mark that looks like it, it looks like maybe you wanted to do it that way. I didn't want to do it that way. I may stamp that over again. You know, I probably will. But imagine a flower there. But no, you don't have to imagine. You can look at this card. So simple to do. Just do a regular A2 size card, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. You've got your card. then you are going to adhere your DSP, cut it out, making sure to not have glue in the middle. And then when you flatten your card, put that DSP back into the back, and then you make a little easel here. And this was 3 inches by 4 1/4. And I just scored it half, 1 1/2, 2 1/2, and then I had that last half there. I forgot to tell you at the beginning. So that piece was 3 by 4 1/4, and I scored it a half, 1 1/2, and 2 1/2 on that 3-inch side to make this little mechanism. And remember, I put the folded edge when I made a W. I put the inside folded edge against the inside of the card so that you would feel that 1/2 inch part that's adhered to into the inside there. And then I just stamped my flowers using my Stamparatus, and I colored them. And then I stamped another one, colored them, and then used the mixed labels dies for my sentiment, a little gingham bow there, and then on the back, thanks so much. And with the white blooms again, and the light old olive I used on that. So I think it's a fun one. Like I said, it was just out of, you know, my first inclination was to just have this flat against the back, but when I stood it up, it was flat and you couldn't see it, but now it just hangs there. So that's cool. And all I did was take a little piece of 1 inch, it's probably 1 inch by 2 inches, and I folded it in half and made myself a little tent, and I just put adhesive on both sides, put one on the back of the DSP and then one on the back of that, and it just stands off really cute. Isn't that sweet? I hope you'll give that card a try. Thanks for buzzing by. Don't forget that we have new items on the celebration list. Stampin' Up did a good job picking some really great valued items to put that you can get for free with a $60 order. So make sure you take a look at that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at 724-323-2296. If you make a card like this, would you send me a picture? I'd love to get what I call happy texts with pictures of cards in them. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.